player, Ices. And here is our Zerg player, ZingerXPn. They're spawning in close air positions.
Yeah, but the good news is that they're going to get scouting early. I mean, we already see the Overlords on the way. And, you know, based on these positions, we happen to see a lot of Terran players straying away from the Banshee openers.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit too risky, especially now that Zergs have adapted and they know the power of the Queen.
Especially after they scouted it, it's going to be difficult for him to do too much damage. So we're going to be looking around here. Our Terran player is going to be walling off up at the front.
Yeah, the other really comfortable thing about this map is the fact you can put an Overlord on your opponent's back wall where the high ground is, and it goes unscouted.
Yeah, so the Overlord just kind of sneaks along this edge, and then it will be able to end up in this space over here where it can get some nice spotting for both the natural and the third. So we see the gas getting taken by Ices right now, so he isn't going for any sort of cheese.
No, we see that Zinger's actually going for a pretty healthy economic open. He's not rushing to get his spawning pool just yet.
Yeah.
And like, I know that on some maps, especially if you feel safe, you'll go for that hatch first, then get a gas, and then eventually get your spawning pool.
Yeah,
but it looks like it is going to be a hatch first opening.
Yeah. He does have the drone in position, and down goes the hatch, as you predicted. We also have the barracks coming up for our Terran player. Ices is going to be getting his orbital command in just a second as his barracks does finish up. The hatch is getting scouted by the SCV right now, so Ices does have good knowledge of what's going on.
Yep, and you know, I'd like to see Ices do a Hellion opener, just because Blue Flame Hellions, they haven't been nerfed yet, but we do know in the upcoming patch it's something they're looking over. But so far, Hellion openers are always powerful against Zerg.
Yeah.
And,
especially
you know,
with the gas first Hellion opener. That's really powerful.
And look at this, throwing down a bunker, trying to make it pretty difficult for him to feel safe about the hatchery, but I don't really think we're going to suspect any sincere Marine pressure here.
Yeah, I actually talked to Zinger about this before, and he says he sort of knows his opponent's playstyle a little bit, saying that he's unlikely to do any sort of like super crazy rush, being more of a macro Terran. So we'll see how this ends up going. That's a little bit strange because most Terrans do like to put on a little bit of pressure as the game begins.
Yeah, double barrack openers always popular against Zerg, but you know, there's no downside in throwing down that bunker. It scares the Zerg a little bit and forces them to make lings,
and you always get your money
back.
Economy. Yeah, we have the factory now coming up for Ices. He is now retreating his SCVs behind his wall. He's got the reactor on the way, so there is that Hellion build coming out at the beginning of the game. We should be seeing an expansion behind this as well.
Yep, and the fact that it's not a tech lab, it lets us know that we're probably not going to see blue flames, but there's nothing wrong with Hellion pressure. I expect him to get about 2 to 6 Hellions, and the important thing is that there is a spine crawler, but a familiar Terran player will actually just choose to run by that spine crawler and just do as much economic damage as he can.
Yeah, so we'll probably see ZingerXPn put his queen up on the ramp to prevent a run by into the main, which would be completely a devastating move, especially if any good shots are done. And we also have our Terran player. Looks like there is that command center coming up, so he will be expanding behind this a little bit of pressure. ZingerXPn does see it with his 2 lings, so he will be able to prepare adequately for this push.
Yeah, and it looks like Zinger's going to be taking some bait here as he's throwing down his Roach Warren, and most Zergs will avoid that at all costs, especially when dealing with Hellions. They'd rather just use lings while they can, but he's already got the double queen block off. I'm surprised he feels so threatened by these lings, but I mean, there's really no fault in the playing safe. Actually, he has 3 queens out already, so hopefully we see some creep spread going on.
Yeah, we also see the spread over here, the switch over here with the barracks and the factory. We'll be able to get some Sea Shanks out onto the field while continuing to pump those Marines. As you know, Marines are very good units. The Hellions are now poking in. There are a couple of drones. One already goes down, going to be roasting another one. A ton of drones getting killed off, and they're all lined up. Oh no, here we go.
There they go.
And looks like a couple of drones do go down. Oh, killing almost every drone at the natural expansion.
He lost 9 drones right there. So very efficient Hellion working right there. Good micro. And like we said, he already threw down that Roach Warren, and the economic damage has been done. So he's going to feel real behind.
Yeah, so in this best of one, it's going to be up to him to make something happen in this case. Especially with this command center now done, he will be able to take another expansion. It is morphing into an orbital command right now.
And look at this, Isis is still putting on pressure. He's just denied 2 creep tumors. And these Hellions have such low health, but they're still being effective.
Yeah, so that's always good conservation from our Terran player, keeping his units alive as long as possible. The creep spread continuing to spread out here. 2 more creep tumors going down.
The important thing to remember here, though Zinger probably feels behind, he's only, actually he's ahead in Harvesters, but only by a couple.
However, that is Larva devoted into Harvesters, and so it will delay a push by our Zerg player from coming up anytime soon.
Yeah, and Isis has been very efficient with his SCB production. He's got a nice, healthy transfer going on in his expansion. And, I mean, falling back on Marine Tank is very effective against Zerg, as long as you have good micro. And so far, that's all we've seen from him.
Yeah. Especially when you have those Siege Shanks with Siege Mode against those Roaches, which were produced to deal with the Hellions, which are essentially not really a threat as of this point. So that was the bait there. As you were saying earlier, there is also a Spore Crawler coming up. So ZingerXPn is a little bit afraid of a Banshee follow-up.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. He's just now grabbing his lair. It feels a bit late, especially around the 9-minute mark. That's when a Zerg wants to get his 3rd expansion up. So, I mean, right now he's feeling under pressure. But,
yeah.
Wow, actually, Isis is throwing up plenty of bunkers. There's just no way that he's going to be... Well, he's most likely expecting some kind of Baneling play. But, you know, he's all stocked up for it. He'll be perfectly safe, especially with backing with the Siege Tanks.
Yeah. So Isis is very well prepared for this. He's got Siege Tanks over here. I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw another expansion coming from Isis with this very tough wall-in, a scan going down, seeing the composition of ZingerXPn. Both players even in food, but that's not what our Zerg player needs at this point in the game. He does have his lair almost finishing up right now. Another Spore Crawler in the main.
And look how late these second gases are. Actually only choosing to get 1 in his natural, but still it's very late. And we still haven't seen the tech. We're not sure what it's going to be. It should be revealed. There it is. It's going to be Spire Tech, which is pretty good default for Zerg. Mutalisks are always great for harassment.
It will prevent our Terran player from moving out too aggressively. But of course, if our Terran player gets that huge ball, our Zerg player will have to defend with their Mutalisks anyways. We'll have to see how well ZingerXPn holds off this impending push. It's all gathering up here. There's Siege Shanks, Marines inside all of the bunkers, and we may even be seeing some medevac drops real soon as the starport is now finished.
Yes, he's very Marine heavy, but you know, his timing will depend on this stim. And
oh no,
it just started now,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. His timing will depend on the finisher. You know, if he decides to move out right after that.
I didn't realize the stim was only just now started, so that's going to delay his push possibly by 170 seconds. So that's going to be a huge delay. Maybe this will give ZingerXPn just enough time to be able to do the push.
Yeah, I also like the fact that Zinger is not hesitating to grab his Baneling speed. He's already got it started, and it's going to be a great way to combat those Marines, especially when they're backed with stim. The other thing, look at his creep spread. He's really starting to take over the map, and this is right about when maybe he'll even be considering... There it is, the double expansion. No sooner do I say it.
Beautiful double expansion there from ZingerXPn. With those mutas coming out onto the field eventually, he will be able to defend these expansions even with the rocks up, as he will be able to maneuver his mutalisks throughout the map to defend against any sort of drops that'll also make drops less viable. He's actually even taken a food lead as of this point.
Yeah, we said it before, you know, from that Hellion opening, he probably felt a little behind. And in order to get back in the game, you have to take chances. So I really like the double expansion. It's a good move.
So we have the command center coming up for Isis. He is going to be taking that 3rd base real soon. Yeah.
Right now he's actually dropping on Zinger, and these Marines are they're doing a ton of damage, and the Mutalist count isn't high enough yet that it's too much of a threat. But now that he knows Mutas are on the field for sure, he'll probably start backing off. Yeah,
he's going to have to throw up some turrets in his main. Sorry for the stream viewers, I missed that. I'm sitting like a little bit to the side of the computer so I can hear my co-caster. We have the rocks actually taken down by Lings. So very interesting here. These rocks have actually been broken down. That's what I was looking at, actually.
And look at this. Banelings are warping in.
So he may be able to... Yeah, I don't know if he's actually going to be able to do too much damage just because of the siege tank count over here. But this is interesting play here. He's definitely trying to get back into this game. He's got the third base up and mining. The fourth base will soon be mining. The creep spread is also there as well, so the roaches will be able to reinforce as quickly as possible. The banelings are complete. We'll see if those decide to do some damage as the Terran army decides to move out.
Yeah, the mutas are testing the wall right now, but Ice has a pretty good
Oh my god, the banelings are in the natural expansion, and they're chasing after those SCVs, and they do get a couple.
Yeah, they did. They got 4 SCVs there. I can't believe it's not more, though.
Yeah, that was so close. He almost got like 10, 15 SCVs in that hit. If he had just done it a little bit faster, he would have gotten all of those SCVs. And if ISIS reacted any slower.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but ISIS is definitely moving in right now. He's trying to take care of this creep spread, but it is hefty. And there we go. One queen going down, but let's see. He has a couple banelings, but he's going to need a lot to take care of these siege tanks.
He's got 10 lings on the way right now, 5 roaches. He's morphing some banelings. He's got his mutas all at home. He's going to have to hold this off. If he holds this off, he'll be in a great position. We've got the Marines checking for the gold expansion as well.
This is where we really need to see these mutas starting to get a good flank and take out some siege tanks. We also know that ISIS is expanding off of this, so who knows if he's going to go through with this pressure or not. But either way, it's putting Zinger on his toes.
So we have our Terran player sitting in the middle with his army. He's re-sieging his tanks, also loading up some Marines. Going to be going for a drop, going to see if he can take anything out. We have the Zerg player positioning his army. He's going to have to pick off that drop. Nice pick by the mutas. Going to prevent that from doing too much damage. We have the banelings and the roaches now rolling forward. It looks like they will not be going for the kill as of yet. Siege tanks are in a good position. The medevacs and the Marines do get taken out.
ISIS is actually, he's losing a good deal of units. He's still going to be press forwarding on that creep, and I don't agree with it. I think that Zinger has enough units, but he's getting caught out of position. And let's see if a fungal goes down.
Oh, looks like no. ZingerXPn is not going to be going for it. It looks like
Zinger's only attacking with portions of his army. It's not enough. He needs to attack all together.
Yeah. Looks like we have a couple of Zerglings to the north position. He's being really careful to be able to hold this off. He's being patient with his units. He needs to be able to do that. We have a siege tank actually dropped in the main, doing some damage. Looks like the roaches will be able to deal with that. However, this will give ISIS a chance to reposition his army.
Yeah, ISIS is actually splitting up all over the map. He's got several drops going on. Muta's trying to clean up these Marines. But like we said, he's losing portions of his army every time. So right now, he really needs to get those siege tanks out of there. And there he goes.
And ISIS is being forced out of here. Zinger is going to be free to macro off of 5 bases.
Yeah, Zinger's in a great position right now. He held off that with, I would say, minimal losses. His mutas are definitely weakened. But for the most part, he just lost Zerglings. But now he has 5 expansions up, so there's nothing slowing him down from just going in the macro mode, maybe getting out that queen, or excuse me, that hive tech.
Yeah, he will be able to shoot up in that food count, headed towards that 200 count where he can begin trading armies with his opponent. We're looking at the burrow upgrade go down as well as the neural parasite. Zerg melee attacks level 2 on the way as well. Looks like Zinger will be moving out a little bit. His creep spread all the way up to the north side.
Yeah, one of the things that made that push so hard for ICE was the creep spread, so I'd really like to see Zinger get back onto that. More and more map control, that's also a resource in StarCraft 2.
Definitely. It gives you all of that out-of-game resource. We have a medevac queued up to actually run over here to this base. We'll see how much damage it's able to do. Looks like Zinger is on it, getting all of his lings into position. You're going to be able to pick that drop off without too much damage dealt.
Great response. And look, it looks like ICE wants to get his gold, and a Terran on 4 base is very, very powerful. I like to see him wait till he gets about 200 supply and then move out. And, then he can utilize his drops to be a little more effective when his army's bigger, but at that point with his previous attack, it kind of set him back a lot. Yeah.
So, looks like Zinger is still keeping pace with the ICEs in terms of food. ISIS does have the rocks down. He is getting his command center up. He's mining out in the main. We've got a huge drop inside the main. Going to be cleaning up that pretty easily. A fungal going down. Going to also hold the medevac in position.
Yeah, his infestor count is huge right now. He's got 9 infestors out, 10 infestors on the way. He's really queuing up for that late game. I'd expect Broodlords as Infestor Broodlords, basically the most powerful tech towards Terran.
Hold everything down and kill it all off.
Yep, and then with the hopefully the future patch, Ultralisk will be coming out faster. So that tech switch is always huge late game for Zerg.
Yeah. Like, Ultras are just too slow in coming out. That's why no one used them. But now we will be able to see that come out. And looks like Zinger may be going across the field, going to see if he can pick off this army from ISIS. It is getting into position, and once those sieges up, Zinger will not want to engage it in that position just yet.
Yeah, and for ICE, we have a really healthy ghost count. That's going to be very, very effective against those infestors.
Yeah.
But Zinger's looking, like I said, he's in a great position right now. But because of ICE's drops, he hasn't really been able to get total saturation on his expansions.
Yeah, he's got these ghosts and the Marines now sprinting forward. An infestor group over here is going to be tracking behind that medevac. Looks like it will be headed towards the north position. We'll keep an eye on that on the minimap to see if it does any damage. We have the medevacs and the ghosts positioning themselves in the middle. ZingerXPn now at 170 food to the 178 food of ICE's, his Terran opponent.
This is kind of bizarre. Actually, like I said before, because of those drops, Zinger's been held back. His Harvester count is only at 44 right now.
Oh, wow. That's actually really low. He needs to get that Harvester count a little bit higher in order to do that.
Yeah, at about 70 is where Zerg wants to be.
The Infestors doing some damage over here in the top location. Looks like the Planetary Fortress does clean everything up.
This is kind of interesting. That's right. Actually, in the drop, Zinger managed to lose some tech. He lost his Baneling Nest, which is pretty important, especially when he needs to morph in for this Mass Marine play.
And it looks like that base does get taken out at the top position by a medevac drop. Zinger did not react in time to be able to take care of that. Now approaching max food on basically what's Zergling Infestor. He needs to get some additional drones out to be able to saturate these new bases. We'll see if he's actually moved any of his drones. Looks like he doesn't have too high of a drone count just because of those drops, as you were saying earlier.
He has a very, very powerful army. And, ICE is, where he is positioned on the map, he's very spread out. He doesn't have a good Terran ball going. And even his map control right now is only being held by a couple tanks in the center.
Yeah.
I really feel like Zinger should probably use this opportunity. Like right now, he's just being held back by more and more drops.
And I have to note, there's a nuclear missile in the production tab. There's also 2 Ghost Academies, so we're going to be seeing some nuclear missiles in this game. We also have a command center coming up over here.
And now it looks like Zinger wants to be taking his gold expansion, and why the hell not? But still, his saturation is just so weak right now.
Yeah.
And his army's maxed out, so he really isn't in a position where he can just be pumping drones.
Yeah.
So
he does have a bigger army because of that drone count, but this is going to hurt if this game goes any longer.
Yeah, absolutely. His army's actually really fragile right now, so even after they attack, he's not going to be able to re-macro the way Zerg needs to.
Yeah. He needs to be able to build that 300 food push, as Day9 usually says. We have the command centers now erecting themselves in the middle of the map.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to see some Planetary Fortress play.
Going to prevent the Zerg army from engaging too haphazardly, which is what Zerg likes to do.
This is going to be impossible for Zinger to engage without Broodlords. And there it is. He's getting that Greater Spire. No sooner do I say it, but in order for him to engage this, oh no, and we have ghosts moving out on the field. We're probably going to see nukes.
Looks like Fungal's going down. A nice pick on those infestors. Looks like an EMP was actually thrown down by Zinger by mind controlling one of those ghosts, so a pretty good play there, and it was able to pick off a bunch of expensive ghosts. So our Terran player is maxed now and is banking 2,000 minerals. Zinger is not actually able to bank that much money just because of his drone count. Looks like he may be going for it. He does have the adrenal glands on the way, going to be able to get 20% extra damage on those Zerglings, the Roaches, and the Infestor sweeping around to the side. Neural Parasite going down on a Marine.
Oh, what a misclick. He was probably going for a Ghost. An EMP would be unbelievable on the Terran army right now.
Look at that Ghost count. It's like almost pure Ghost. So we're seeing Ghost Tank right now is the composition. Huge EMPs going off.
EMPs going down on Roaches and Banelings.
But not doing too much damage because they missed the Infestors, which still have plenty of...
Well, there's still a huge Ghost count right now, and 3 Ghosts moving out cloaked. Oh, they're going to be seen by the Seeker, so hopefully he takes them out. But if he doesn't, we could see some nuclear missiles.
Yeah, it looks like the Ghosts are running right under there, and it looks like the Fungal does go down. The Zerglings and the Banelings will be chasing after that. Down goes the Ghost, so 3 more Ghosts lost. ICE is well, he can sustain this kind of loss. Look at his money. He's got 3,000,
yeah,
enough to pay
he's
a semester's situation.
Yeah, he's where he's where Zinger wants to be. But we only see one Broodlord coming in. He's going to have to kill some of his own supply if he really wants to get a hefty number of Broodlords here. And we still have the planetary wall off, which is going to make it very difficult to engage.
I actually just saw an EMP go down on all of the ghosts by mind control. Oh, wow.
That's always
but
impressive.
It didn't actually hit all of the energy, so it's not doing that much damage right now.
The important thing to remember here is, although the Broodlords are necessary, the fact that ghosts are on the field, those snipes are very, very effective.
Yeah.
I
surprisingly effective against Broodlords.
Yeah, I want to say it takes five snipes to kill a Broodlord.
What does it do? How much damage does snipe do? Let's see. It does 45 damage. A Broodlord has
225.
225. Yeah, I think around 5-6 snipes.
Although, let's see if he decides to move forward with some cloak.
Looks like the Broodlords are raining down those Broodlings.
And Infestor moving and getting a nice fungal on that army.
And here comes the huge push by ZingerXPn. EMP is going down, but still missing those Infestors. And here comes the push through. We'll see if he's able to remax after this, as those Roaches are in suicide mode as of this
I don't
point.
like him moving forward with this Roaches. There's no reason to. Just let the Broodlords do the work. There is one Viking out, but a simple fungal actually choosing to neural parasite that.
Yeah, he could land it right down, and the Sea Shanks will do the damage on it. Looks like a couple of Broodlords are going to be going down. Snipes actually going down on those Broodlords. Going to be able to clean those up pretty easily. ZingerXPn falling to 147
There
food.
goes his Broodlord, so now he's just going to have to rely on the Infestors and the Roaches. He does have a healthy lane count, though, which is, but look at all these Marines in this planetary fortress.
Yeah, look at them on the tower over here. They're actually keeping a great lockdown all over this map. We've got the 5th base sort of coming up, 4th base in the place where the 5th base was supposed to be. We have the drones, roaches.
Yeah, we've got Roaches, but in terms of drones, we only have 37 drones for Zinger right now. Ice is still being effective with that drop play.
That's really low. It sort of looks like the flip of what should be happening as of this point.
Absolutely.
With Terran going 30 SCVs and dropping mules, and our Zerg player with like 80-ish drones and just smashing his army up against that wall. We'll see how this game goes. Zinger is just going to be sticking back for a while and trying to re-macro his army.
You know what? I'm pretty sure we've missed maybe a nuke or two, because this ghost in the top right, the hatchery's at half health. It could have been just by drops, but we'll see what happens. He's in a position where he has 3 nukes ready. So at any moment, he could just annihilate Zinger's economy.
Yeah. And this number of drones is a quarter of his economy, so that would be like losing a quarter of your GDP. That would be bad.
A massive drop moving in at the Hive Tech.
And we have the Zerglings now running by, going to be able to do some damage. This drop is getting cleaned up by the Zerglings. A couple of
oh my gosh,
Banelings
he's
getting
able
in
to
the
snipe the
action
Hive. That's so important.
Oh no. Looks like a couple of SCVs going to get nibbled away at this top location, but that's nothing in comparison to losing
we might have
Hive.
a misrally here. He's choosing to move in. He's sacrificing a couple lings there, but still, look at his money. He's nearly broke, and his production is just drones and lings. No actual tech units.
This is not where you want to be as of this point.
No, absolutely not.
He's got to have that Hive up, which he doesn't because of that drop. That huge target fire. We even have a ton of drones idle inside the main. Zinger here needs to get on this, hit that F1 key, see where those drones are.
Wow, and unfortunately, he has drones that are idle at his natural expansion that could be mining minerals, and that's such a precious resource that he needs right now.
Nuclear missile going down over here. And looks like it will be able to take out a couple of those creep tumors, possibly a Broodlord that's kind of like passing by. So we're going to watch the nuke land and kill a couple of creep tumors. There it goes. Down goes the nuke.
He's just in such a horrible position, and ISIS he's held such great map control.
Yeah, so we're just going to see how this plays out. I really think our Terran player is in such a great position. He can keep landing those nukes, keeping our Zerg player guessing as to exactly what's going on, and he's got to get that Hive Tech back up. He's finally noticed those drones. They are now moving over to the 3rd, which is way oversaturated already.
And there's no reason for that. I mean, he has 2 other expansions. Oh no, and he just lost his hatchery at the 2 o'clock position.
Oh no. That Ghost has 27 kills, so you're right, we missed a nuclear launch. It looks like another nuclear missile will be going down on those Zerges. Look at the Sloverlords going to be hovering over here. They will get killed off as well. Going to watch this nuke land as well. And here it is.
Yeah, you know, at this point, Ice is basically playing a starve style. He's put Zinger in a position where he can't re-macro. He's basically not mining. Oh, we do see a fungo going down. All right, good.
Okay, oh gosh, that almost killed his entire army.
Yeah, you know, at this point, though, I'd like to see Ice start to push forward. He's got the economy that he can just re-macro probably just as fast as the Zerg. Another nuke going down, just eliminating that creep.
Yeah. Also killing off a couple of Lings there. Those nukes are doing a good job of keeping ZingerXPn alert, I guess, as to keep checking what's going on. We also have all of these sensor towers all over the place.
He's walled off the entire map.
Yeah. So this is walling off to the extreme. We have a couple of Vikings here, and it looks like here comes the push forward. The Zerg army is going to be advancing here. A bunch of EMPs going off. These are the good EMPs. We have the
his tank spread is so perfect. There's just no way this Zerg army is getting annihilated. We do see some Infestitarian going down, but at this point, there it is. There's a GG.
GG.
That was a 30-some minute game. Very, very exhausting for the players. And that was, what is that? We're still in the opening bracket.
Yeah, that was round one.